I'm Marius Roberts. We've spent probably the last, 10, 12 years playing with cars, getting to test drive all the latest cars, and it was a really amazing job. And I guess my tyre experience, if I'm really honest, was all about performance tyres, racing cars, ultimate performance, I suppose. So for me, understanding how off-road tyres work was never really in my wheelhouse. My path with General Tyres started back in, would have been 2020, in that horrible time called lockdown. We sat in an industry where I had no work, there was nothing going on, and I came up with this crazy idea of promoting South Africa because no one was traveling. All the little B&Bs and those sort of places were suffering. So we came up with this idea called Just to See How Far It Is, which for me was about unlocking South Africa to South Africans, exposing people to some really cool places, off the beaten track places. We had Isuzu on board with a vehicle, and OEM fitment on the D-Max was the General Grabber ATXs. So that is how our relationship started with the brand. And yeah, we sit 4 years later, we've done a second season, and obviously no longer an Isuzu, but my own vehicle now that we've gone and converted and kitted and swapped around, and stayed with General Tyres. This time obviously running on the more robust light truck construction ATXs. The idea with Just to See How Far It Is, like I said, like live local, love local, support local. In a way, it's quite cool that that relationship from a tyre perspective is also that, supporting local, because the tyres are manufactured here. So that's a really nice angle for us. The challenge with Just to See How Far It Is that we travel on our own. So safety for me is always a big thing. You don't want to do things that are too stupid, too risky, even though the car and the tyres are capable enough to do crazy stuff. We like to keep it quite safe. And I think that's been the biggest peace of mind for me from a motoring perspective, is I don't actually even worry about the tyres, if that makes any sense. Combined the 2 seasons, we've probably done 12,000 kilometers, not one puncture, never had to ever worry about getting out the car, trying to change tyres in precarious situations. So it really has delivered maximum peace of mind. People do come to us and ask us for advice on tyres, and that's what you want, because it always is for me that thing, well, the car came with these 4 black things and no one really worries about it. What I find the people that are most interested in tyres are guys that are driving in their 4x4s, and for all the wrong reasons, because it's more about how the tyres look and the curb presence. And what has happened now, if you look at how bakkies have become the lifestyle vehicles, number 1 selling car in South Africa is a bakkie, number 2 selling car is a bakkie. It's crazy. Because they've pushed lifestyle, the tyres that they come standard with are also more lifestyle orientated, so more 80% highway, 20% off-road. And I think that is where the risk comes in, because the guy's bought his bakkie that can go anywhere, and when he does try and go somewhere, the tyres that they've got as standard OEM fitment aren't going to help them out. And that for me is the advice that I give to most guys when they ask me about the tyre choices that I've made. It's overkill having the ATXs on my vehicle, but it suits our adventuring spirit of being able to go anywhere. We've got the right tyres on that car. It's not my daily driver. It's geared up purely for these type of experiences. But if this was my daily driver, I would go with the AT3s. And what's quite cool, General Tyres have brought out a light truck construction tyre in the AT3s as well. So you've got your more day-to-day runner, and then if you are doing a little bit more off-roading, even like guys like farmers, in the farmlands all the time, go the light truck construction tyre on that, because I think you get the best in terms of rolling resistance, road noise. Obviously, the minute you tread up like we've gone with our ATXs, there's a little bit more road noise, but for me, my road noise is beautiful. Gravel, country roads, Sani Pass, hey, look at where I am. There's no better soundtrack than that. We got to play in the Transkei in probably the craziest conditions that I've ever seen, like deep water crossings, mud, rain. It was pretty intense, and that was probably the most robust experience that I've had in a variety of conditions with tyres. Yeah, and the General Tyres came through that no hassle. So even though we're not really putting the tyres to the full test on Just to See How Far It Is, like I said, it's more peace of mind for me, and knowing that if we are in those situations, we've got the right rubber, making sure we get to visit places that, well, it lives up to your brand, doesn't it? Anywhere is possible. And I think we've kind of been trying to showcase that as much as possible.